verse 1. I love this first verse.
Amen.
He says, guard your steps as you go to the house of God, and draw near to listen, rather to offer the sacrifice of fools, for they do not know they are doing evil. So Solomon starts off right out of the bat saying, be careful, pay attention, listen, be attentive. And he says you need to guard your steps, draw near, and listen. And see, guys, he says draw near, guard your steps to the house of God. See, this morning when we entered into this building, as you walked, as you drove this morning to the tent church or whatever church you go to in the future, as you're driving there, the Bible, Solomon is saying, guard your steps. Well, what do you mean by that? He says, when we enter the house of God, we need to have the attitude of being open and ready to listen to God. Yeah. Not coming to church or to the house of God, preparing ourselves to dictate to God what we want out of the service. Most of us go to church with presuppositions and ideas of what we expect church to give us. Of what we expect to God to give us, that we expect goosebumps and hairs to stand up and this emotional, amazing feeling, and that if we don't experience that, God didn't show up. And God didn't give me what I want. And God didn't speak. And God, I'm expecting God. But here's the thing that Solomon is saying is that we as believers, we as Christians, he's talking to those who have a relationship with God. That guys, before you got to church this morning, Solomon is this: you should prepare yourself before you even get to church.
Right.
Prepare your heart, prepare your mind, prepare your thoughts to enter a place of worship. Now we know that these four walls and this building, in of itself, there's nothing special about it. But what is special is that God's people meet here. That the people of God meet here to worship God. And Solomon says when you do that, as a believer in God, you should prepare yourself to come worship God. And it's not just Sunday morning that you prepare yourself. It's all week long you prepare yourself. So when we say amen this morning and you leave service today, the clock starts then that you prepare yourself for next Sunday.
Right.
And the Sunday after that, and then every day, every minute, life is preparation. And you're like, well, I don't have to go to church to be a Christian. Well, technically you are correct, but Christians will want to go to church because Jesus loves the church and Jesus gave himself up for the church and Jesus went to church. The Bible says, records, as was his custom, when the church doors were open, who would you find there? Jesus. So there is God going to church, hearing man talk about him. Anybody have an excuse not to go because he knew it all?
Yeah.
I heard that message before. I didn't really get nothing out of that. It didn't apply to me. Jesus sat humbly. Because it wasn't about, for Jesus, think about this in church. It wasn't about the experience. It wasn't just about the people. It wasn't about the music. You know what Jesus, for the first, I want you to think about this. This is the first time Jesus has been separated from his Father. And so guess what? When he got to go and hear the priest read this book, guess what? That was the time that Jesus got to hear his Father's words again. Jesus got to hear his dad speak. That's why he never missed church. Because he wanted to hear his daddy speak. And as that priest would stand up there and read from Isaiah or whatever, and Jesus would sit in the crowd, it wasn't about whether he'd heard that sermon 100 times or this is the same passage we read last week or anything like that. Jesus came prepared for one thing: I'm going to hear my Father speak. I'm going to hear my Father's words. He came to hear from the Father. Not the pastor, not the choir, not the special singers or the events. He came to hear his Father. And so Solomon is telling us in the same way that we should prepare our hearts and minds to come and hear from our Father when we come to church. It's not just about whether you worship well, you sing well, for kids ministry. Those are all just byproducts of you preparing yourself to come worship the Father. And as we prepare ourselves to worship, that will change the dynamics of our church. See, worship is not just about Ken doing his job and me doing my job and the musicians doing their job. It's about all of us doing our job. It's about all of us coming to church prepared to worship the Lord. Now sometimes I get life steps in, doesn't it? And you either fight with your spouse on the way to church. That seems to happen a lot. kids are going crazy. It's something that just throws you off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're trying to, people cut you off and you get in the flesh. You're cussing at them and all these things. And you're trying to get to church and you're sin all the way here. And when you walk through the doors, guys, I've been the same way. There's been many times I walked through that door and I wasn't prepared for anything. Wasn't prepared to meet from the Lord, hear from the Lord. Usually in those times, that's when the Lord broke me. And made me pay attention and made me listen. But guys, as a believer, what Solomon is saying is we should train ourselves to be prayed up, to read God's word before we ever enter God's house. We should speak to the Lord before we ever come into His house. We should hear from the Lord before we ever come to the house. Guys, the Father says, I want to speak to you more than once a week. For 30, 45 minutes to an hour at a time, I want you to hear my word more and more and more. And Solomon says, guard your steps. So this morning, you do come prepared to listen. Not from me, but from Him. My words mean nothing. His word means everything. What do you need to hear from the Lord? What have you been ignoring from the Lord? How did you come prepared this morning to service? How is your heart? Is your heart ready to receive, or is it resistant? And he goes on into verse 2. He says, and do not be hasty in word or impulsive in thought to bring up a matter in the presence of God. For God is in heaven, we are on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. I've heard it said, and maybe you've heard it too, is that it's better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Have you ever heard that before?
Yes.
I've been told that, and I have said that. But is this not true? We as human beings, we often say things without thinking it through first.
Oh.
Man, we just, and then as soon as it comes out, you're like, whoop, I wish, yep, shouldn't have said that, didn't process that. And not just about what you said, but how you said it. Oftentimes for me, it's not what I said that I want to take back, but it is definitely how I said it. If I can take back my tone, take back my rudeness or my sharpness or my irritatedness and just, or sometimes even my crassness and just my sarcasm, like, Lord, I shouldn't have said it that way. That needed to be said, but not like that. And that's the way you have to learn that how you speak. Sometimes that's called for, sometimes it's not. But one thing I've learned too is that, when I'm at work, in a way that I can talk with James is different than I can come home and talk to my wife.
Amen.
Our tones are different. I can be more sarcastic. Actually, both with my wife, he's a thermos, she's a teacup. There's a difference there. But sometimes I work all day, and then I come home and just talk to you like just one of the guys. Yes, I know, she's not a teacup.
Maybe like a Yeti.
I like that. That's good.
I like that.
That's good. But I think we're all guilty this week if we can think of a situation that we've all said something this week we wish we wouldn't have. But even to our kids, guys, man, some of my worst moments are when my kids are getting on my nerves. You spout something off and, you just crush them. Or even when Richard's playing a game or Gideon's playing a game and you yell at them, they think you're mad at them, but you're just excited. But sometimes, guys, a lot of times we speak before we think. We respond and we never think it through. Then Solomon, in that same train of thought, he says, how many of us speak without thinking? But he also says this, how many of us make promises that we don't intend on keeping? How many times do we make commitments and we fully well know I'm not going to follow through? It sounds good, it looks good publicly, but no way. Or how many even silently, I promise I made this commitment. I'm going to do this. You vow in your heart, you make a promise, but you do not keep it. How many of you have already, think about it. James and I, it was funny, when we the first of the year, you always sign up for the gym, you're going to change your life. 6 months, you're going to be unrecognizable and huge, and here it is 6 months later, I'm just but in the first You go for the first month of the gym, and guess what? It's packed. Now it's May, June, guess what? It's about 1/3 of what it was in January. People, everybody vows, I'm going to be changed, I'm going to stay healthy. And it falls off. How many vows, how many commitments, how many things in your life do you have right now that you say, you're just failing, you're falling short of the commitments that you've made to the Lord? Because some of us at the beginning of this year, or maybe the last few weeks, or some sermon a time ago, you made a commitment, a vow, a promise to the Lord in your heart, and here it is weeks, months, maybe even years later, and you look back and you say, I have not kept my promise to the Lord. I have not kept my promise to God's people. I've not kept my promise to myself. And not just that, guys, but he's also incorporating this in the idea of marriage, that if when you promise to be one and only for your spouse, that is a promise, a vow that you have to keep. And guys, it's hard in the world we live in, but he's saying our vows, our promises, our words mean something. But let them be few. And what I also tell Sky, and is she in here?
No.
Well, she should be. Is this. Let my words be few, because she likes to talk a lot. If you've ever hung around Sky, you know that. She chatters, and a lot of times we say, you just like to hear your own voice. And I'm trying to remind, listen, let what you say be important. Don't just speak idly. Choose your words carefully. Choose what you say. Let your words, so if you know what you want, when you speak, people listen. But if you're a person that constantly talks and never says anything, people aren't going to want to listen to you. But when you speak, people want to hear. He also says this. How many of us in this room have said things we did not mean? Yeah, we do. Or we mean it in another way. A lot of times, guys, this derives out of anger, frustration. You say something in the heat of a moment that you wish you could have back. You guys, and it's one thing to do these things with one another, but how more when we do these things to the Lord? How much more when we do these things to Jesus? Jesus, I promise this week I'm going to read my Bible. I'm going to pray, Lord. I'm going to do these things. And here it comes. And life takes over, and the first thing to go out the window is your promise to the Lord. If something needs to be sacrificed to the Lord, why is it always our commitments to Him that go first? As Christians, why is it always our commitments to the Lord that are the first thing that are expendable? My Bible reading time. Well, if I got to make time, if something's got to go, it's that. Guys, my wife's in school, Robert's in school, I'm in school, but listen, my homework never comes before the Lord. If you need to make time for it, you need to make time for it. Either get up early or stay up later, but the time for the Lord has to become first. That's not more important than your degree. That's great. When He comes first, our priorities. How much should we do this before the Lord? Let your words be few. And then he goes into verse 3. For the dream comes through much effort, and the voice of a fool through many words. I don't know if you guys ever studied with different Bibles, but there's a version called the Message. Not one that I highly recommend or that you study. Maybe if you're a baby Christian or young, it's good to read through once and then kind of put it in your library and go back to it. But it says, I like the way it says this verse. It says, overworking makes for restless sleep, but over talking shows you a fool. Over talking shows you as a fool. When men's minds are distracted and oppressed with too much business in the day, they are frequently disturbed with confusing and perplexed dreams in the night. And as such dreams proceed from and are the evidence of a hurry of business filling the head, so that many and hasty words will flow from them, and are a proof of folly ruling in your heart. So what this is saying, the breakdown of this is sometimes our mind, even when it's shut down and we're sleeping, catches up with us. And have you ever had just wild, wicked, crazy dreams and this and that? And sometimes what Solomon is saying is sometimes in our sleep, even our dreams can tell us that we're doing something crazy. And he goes on to say in verse 4, when you make a vow to God, and do you guys believe that God can speak through dreams? This is a weird kind of deal. Yeah. Joseph interpreted dreams. And the Bible says in Revelation that what's going to happen? That some men will dream dreams and interpret dreams. But what's scary is in the day and time in which we come and people says, I've had a dream. I've had a vision and God told me this. If anybody ever says, I've had a dream and God told me when the world's going to end, you just automatically quit listening to him. God says no man knows the hour. The angels don't even know when the Son of Man will return. So listen, if anybody ever tells you they figured out when Jesus is going to return and the end of the world is, you just quit listening, okay? Because the Bible says that can't happen. But sometimes, and I believe this, that sometimes even on a personal level, if you're walking with the Lord in the Spirit, that sometimes God can show you things. God can give you visions or dreams or put things in your mind and pictures in your hearts of things that maybe haven't happened quite yet or something that's coming and warns you or gives you direction. I believe that God can speak that way. But here's what happens, guys. Dreams and interpretation of those dreams never trump the revelation of God's Word. They're always subjected to it. God's Word is always first and primary source of where we get our guidance and our wisdom and our leading from the Lord. And we always challenge any dreams or perception of those dreams. And we always have to compare them with God's Word. And if it conflicts with any way, that dream is not of the Lord. But I believe that God can speak through dreams. Show you things through dreams. Maybe not very much here in America because you don't have much left to the imagination. But there were many, many people in third world countries that, man, I read a story of a Muslim in another country that was saved, came to saving faith through his dreams. Think of it, it's wild, isn't it? Has never been a missionary there. He has never read the Bible there. They do not have the internet there, so he wasn't like he was Googling Jesus. But over a period of time, he had this revelation, this dream of this man coming to him, proclaiming to be Jesus, the Son of God, which this man in the dream had pierced hands and pierced feet, and proclaimed who he was through the gospel in a dream, and this man ended up becoming a Christian and wrote about it later in life. God can save however he wants, even through a dream. And so this man confessed and professed and came to saving faith in Jesus, and he had to find a pastor, seek a pastor out to tell him what had happened, is this real, what's going on, and everything this guy said lined up with God's Word. They baptized him, they gave him a Bible, and said, dude, you got to share your story. We've never heard of it. God, Jesus saving through a dream. And this was just a few years ago.
Yes, sir.
That is powerful, amazing things. But dreams can also be interpreted wrong or trusted too much. The only thing we trust fully is God's Word.
That's right.
He says, when you make a vow to God, therefore, do not be late in paying it. For God takes no delight in fools. Pay what you vow. Jesus said in Matthew 5, verses 36 and 37, nor shall you make an oath by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. But let your statement be yes, yes, or no, no. Anything beyond those are evil. When you make a vow, you're expected to keep that vow. That's why when we have a ceremony of a husband and wife come together, they exchange what? Why? It is a promise to each other before the Lord. We promise, we make a covenant vow. This is who I will be for you. And this is what you can expect of me and from me for the rest of our life. And that she will make the exchange her vows to you. And then you will spend a lifetime living up to the vows that you made up to one another. That you promised to one another. That you covenanted to one another. I vow. A vow is bigger than a promise.
That's right.
A vow is greater than a promise. A vow is something that God holds on to and holds you accountable for. Basically, Solomon is breaking down this to our modern language is this. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I don't know about you, but do you have people in your life that as soon as they say something, you know they're full of it? They're like, yeah, man, sign me up. I'll be there to help, this and that. Or you never hear from them. All of a sudden they're broke. You know, their phone's broke, their car broke down. You know, everything. People, you know, we all have people in our lives that are totally undependable, that we cannot count on. But even though they talk a lot. They talk a lot of good game and this and promises. I promise to be there. I'll do this in the church. I promise to do that. Oh, you let me do it. You can count on me. And then when the time comes, guess what? They don't do it. But then you also have those people that, man, you can bank on their word. When they speak, when they say something, you know if it's in their power to do it, they're going to do it. And they'll move heaven and earth to try to make it happen. What Solomon's asking is when you say what you mean and mean what you say, what kind of person are you? Do people trust you and take you at your word? Or they kind of look at you funny when you say something? Like, you know what? I'm definitely going to have a backup plan. I'm definitely going to have plan B. Because if you're plan A, I'm not sure I can fully trust that. Verse 5 says this, it is better that you should not vow than that you should vow and not pay or own up to it. Check this out. Vows were optional. You were not required to make a vow. But Israel, Jewish law says this, that though vows were optional, if made, they had to be kept. So no one made you, you were not obligated to make a vow. But once you proclaimed a vow, you were obligated to fulfill it. Jewish law. Solomon is warning his readers about making foolish promises to God. Now I don't want to know deep, but has anybody, have you ever promised God anything? Have you ever vowed to God, maybe it would sound like this, if you'll do this, I'll do it. If you get me out of this, I'll do God, just this one time, and then I'll forever, right? God, you do this one thing, I'll forever go to church.
What's the difference between a vow and a promise? Is it the severity of it?
Yes, it's the severity. Promises, man, promises, yes, they're not as severe. They were not, a vow was almost like a contractual covenant agreement between two parties. Like marriage. They would write it up. It was legal. It could be punished. A promise wasn't legal.
Gotcha.
In the Israel Jewish custom, a vow was legal. Standing, and same with between God. It was a covenant, a vow. And it says this, that how many of us have made vows to God? I was trying to think of examples. Brother Jim's father-in-law. When Brother Jim asked Kathy to marry him, then he had to go off to Vietnam. And so, what was his name? What was Brother Jim? Huh?
BJ.
Yeah. EJ. Jake. What was Brother Jim's father-in-law? What was Kathy's dad's name?
Sir, Jay.
EJ. So, anyway, yeah, it was two initials. JP.
JP.
That's it, JP. When JP was young and Brother Jim went off to Vietnam to fight, JP made not a promise, he vowed to the Lord that a razor would not touch his face or his head until his son-in-law came home. And so the entire time that Brother Jim was over in Vietnam, he never shaved. And it was a constant reminder to himself and to his family and to Kathy that I am begging, I am vowing to the Lord, I will not shave, I will not do anything if you will bring home my son back to my daughter. And the vow was that he kept it. Brother Jim came home and the day after he shaved because the vow was what? Over. But he promised, he made a covenant with God. He made a promise, a covenant with God that I will not do this. A vow is something that you have to take serious. It's It's different than a fast and promises. A vow is something that God takes serious. I vow to not do this or to refrain from this, and God says, okay, I'm holding you to that. Vows in Jewish days were voluntary, but once made, they were unbreakable. It is foolish to make a vow that you do not plan to keep, and it is foolish to think that you can play games with God by only partially fulfilling their vow. Some people make vows, go halfway, and then pop out. It's not the way it works. It is better not to vow than to make a vow to God and break it. If you make a vow, keep it. This is plain advice. This is advice Solomon's giving. This is very common sense. If you vow something to either the person or to the Lord, you had better keep it. Even in our days, God, Solomon says it's good advice. You want your word to have weight. You want your words to have meaning. That is why some lost people sometimes don't listen to a thing you say about the gospel you share, because your words are weak and have no meaning. Because how can they trust you that what you say guarantees them to go to heaven when you can't even fulfill the simple things you promised here on earth? Y'all with me?
Yeah.
It's hard to fulfill those things, and for them to trust you if you've been a guy that's possible.
I'm fixing to go get you from our house.
She is going out.
She needs to come get her right now.
Okay, so do you need me this afternoon?
Probably.
Done.
Anybody wants to ride with me to come on?
Randy, you going with Dad?
I think Chad's gone.
I'll
You need me to take her home?
go over here to the hospital.
I'll take her home.
Am I supposed to go?
Nope, you stay. I'll take you home.
Hey,
Okay, yes, sir.
Dad, you want me to go with you to help you? Yeah, okay.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
Verse 6. Break our plans a third time. Verse 6. Do not let your speech cause you to sin, and do not say in the presence of the messenger of God that it was a mistake. Why should God be angry on account of your advice and destroy the work of your hands? In the book of James, chapter 3, verse 2, James says this, for we all stumble in many ways. If anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to bridle the whole body as well. Meaning this, if you've learned to tame your tongue, you've learned to tame the entire body.
That's right.
But there's not a person in this room, and there's not a person that has ever lived outside the Lord Jesus that has ever tamed their tongue. Has ever kept it totally under control 24/7. I don't know about you, but my tongue gets me in the most trouble in my life.
Me.
A long time ago, it used to be what I did. Now it's what I say. And how I say it. Or back then it was both. Now it's just more or less one. But the tongue, you know what? It's so small, isn't it? It's a small member that we don't see a lot, think a lot about, but it produces a lot of evil. But what the Bible says is this, it's not so much that your tongue is evil, but your tongue is projecting what's in your heart. It is the mouthpiece for your heart. It is the words that your heart wish they could speak. So guys, here's the really blunt truth. When you say something out of anger to somebody, it's not that you didn't mean what you said, you just wish they never knew how you felt.
You didn't want that thought to come out.
Yeah, you didn't want that thought that you totally feel to come out because you didn't want them to hear that. But you meant what you said. It's just you said it the wrong way. You wish you hadn't said it that way. Or, oops, you're sleeping on the couch. That's what happens. It's not that you didn't mean it. You just wish you didn't say it. I love husbands and wives. I always be messing with each other. Matthew 12:36, Jesus says, but I tell you that every careless word that people speak, you will give an account for it on the day of judgment. So God is saying here, Jesus has a book for you, a book for me, a book for every individual. And the name of that book is what is it? What did I say? Misspoken words. Careless words. And in that book, Jesus has recorded everything sharp or mad or angry or hurtful that we've spoken.
Since you've been saved or forever?
Forever. It's just not done against you. But it's recorded. Because God knows what you're going to say already. For some of us, it's probably a pretty big book.
Yeah.
Check this out. It says, it would seem that to keep from sinning in what we say is a very difficult thing to do, isn't it? For some of you, you're like, it's better for me not to talk. Maybe.
You'll mute.
But it also says, be very careful what you promise to God. Guys, that's also volunteering to do ministry or things in the church. When you commit to do something, even though you're not verbally saying, I promise, those two words, when you make a commitment, that is what you're saying. I vow to be, I promise to be there. You can count on me. God says, don't ever let it turn out to be when people look at you and go, can I? Can we? Don't be that person. Ecclesiastes 5:7, for in many dreams and in many words there are emptiness. Rather, fear God. Give no heed to dreams, nor to the many words of men which are in vain and foolish, but keep close to the word of God. And worship God internally and externally, in spirit and in truth. For herein lies the sum and substance of all religion. Many that compared to dreams, the words of men, your favorite pastor, the favorite preacher, any speaker you love, nothing compares to the word of God. That's what all I'm saying. No word is greater. No voice is sweeter. Nothing is above the word of God. Verse 8, he says, if you see oppression of the poor and denial of justice and righteousness in the province, do not be shocked at the sight, for one official watches over another official, and there are higher officials over them. We should not, and this does kind of crack me up. Christians are totally shocked and amazed with the injustice in the world. I know people, well, I cannot believe that happened. Are you serious? How is it so hard for you to believe that people are like that? Mm-hmm. Think about who you are when no one's looking. And why can you sit back and judge somebody whose life is, they have a public life, and you're looking at all their sins and say, my God, I can't believe they act like that, or be like that, or things like that, when you are the same way when no one is around. But we want to judge them and point at them, look at them. It's very interesting, and it drives me nuts with Christians. You know what really drives me crazy? Is when Christians judge non-Christians based on their Christian standards. Like James and I were working this week. I cannot control these people. I cannot make them talk. I cannot make them adhere to my standard of living or beliefs. And let me tell you, this husband and wife we're doing the remodel, she's got a worse mouth than him. But there's more F-bombs and GDs and working in that bathroom than I've heard in 6 months. And they say it just cuts. Why not? And they throw religious words in front of those words. Holy this and Jesus that, and but you know what? It would be wrong for me to go, you shouldn't talk that way. Yeah, they should talk that way. They're lost. They don't know Jesus, and why should I elevate myself as above them or better than them? No, I just got to talk different than them. Speak different than them, work different than them, but I don't judge them or try to be better than them. Because I'm a sinner saved by grace, and James and I were trying to remember the last time either one of us has said the F word. And I don't know, it's been a while for both of us. Maybe, at least verbally. Might have internally said it a few times, but I don't think. You know, and I'm talking like, you're saying it out of anger or mad or trying to be crude or funny in a moment. And it's just been a while. But I was thinking back in the day, that was a normal word that came out every other word. And how before I was saved, certain words didn't bother me. Now that I'm saved, they do bother me. But I cannot expect, because I know Jesus, and He changes the way that I live, that people that don't know Jesus should live the way that I do. Right. Or I'm not going to be friends with them or talk to them or associate with them. Guess what? That is the opposite of what Jesus did.
That's right.
He sat and ate dinner with all the people that talked dirty, had bad jokes, cussed a lot, had, not very good jobs, workers of the night, thieves, tax collectors, and Jesus says, I want to go hang out with y'all. And they'd be over there telling dirty jokes, but Jesus wouldn't get involved in listen, but he would watch. Pay attention, and then he would go off into a parable about who God was and why they needed Him. Not, you shouldn't talk that way. You never attack. That's religion. That's what religion attacks. The outside externals. Jesus wants the inside. He wants the heart, the reason why you talk that way, why you think that way, why you act that way. That is what Jesus is interested in. Everything else doesn't matter. He says this, Ecclesiastes 5:9. We're almost done, believe it or not. After all, a king who cultivates the field is an advantage to the land. What in the world is he talking about? The earth, if it is properly cultivated, is capable of producing food for every living creature. Kid has a garden. Some other people have gardens, and I know some people that live totally off the land. They don't go to the grocery store. God provides for them everything they need where they live. And they don't have to go to Walmart, which that's a blessing in and of itself. Right. It makes you want to go home and grow a garden. And by the time you could probably grow a garden by the time you get out of the checkout line. And that's what it's talking about. The earth, God created this world where it was intended to take care of you and me. That if it was properly cultivated and maintained, the earth would take care of us. But without cultivation, no one has a right to expect bread. I mean, listen, if you don't work for it, don't expect nothing. If you don't work, don't expect to what? Eat. If you're lazy, don't expect to be rewarded. If you don't work hard, you won't receive. It's very simple. Our country has it backwards. We're teaching our kids, and we're teaching the generations that you can just blame everybody else and not work, and then we'll pay for you just sit around and do whatever. For people that work hard, middle class Americans, like most of the people in this church, it would be better for you to just quit your job, break your back, or go insane, and let the government take care of you, because you get full dental, medical, you get compensation, you can get housing, and an allowance to spend every month, and you don't have to work. I mean, if you teach your society that that's available and that's actually more desirable, no wonder we're at where we're at. Why would I want to get up early and work late for half of what they'll give me for nothing? It's anti-gospel. It's anti-God. God declared men go to work. Women. And I know our culture has changed, and there's single moms in our service, and I get that. And so you've had to pick up the role of both husband and wife, mom and dad, and so you're having to work and do the kids, and you're carrying the loads of two jobs, but that's not the way God intended. God intended husband and wife, and you work together to cultivate your family. But guys, if your garden's not cultivated, if it's not taken care of, guess what? Bugs will get it, insects, weather, weeds, it'll overgrow, they'll die. Guys, your relationship with the Lord, if it's not cultivated, guess what? The weeds will come in, it'll get overrun, the weather will come in, it'll grow, guess what? It'll die. Your relationships with people, if your marriage is not cultivated, it will wither and die. If your friendships are not cultivated, they will wither and die. Guys, if this church is not cultivated, it will wither and die. Our relationships take work. The best relationships I have are the ones I work hardest at. Think about it, you too. The ones you most enjoy, the ones you most enjoy seeing fruits out of are the ones that you work towards. That's why kids are so special. Especially when they succeed and when they achieve something because you've worked at it, you've cultivated, you've poured into them, and then finally you see them achieving and turning around. But guys, in the Christian walk, it's the same thing. Verse 10, he says, he who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves abundance with its income. This too is vanity. This is what Solomon says in a nutshell. We always want more. Enough is never enough. I forgot who it was, but it was some guy back in the day, Rockefeller maybe. Yeah, it was. Rockefeller. They asked him, how much is enough? How do you know you have enough? How much is enough? And he says, just one more dollar. How much is enough? Just one more. Just one more. I've noticed too, in my very limited, finite income and ability, that 10 years ago, but think about it. 10 years ago, I made a certain amount of money. I lived in a certain kind of house, drove a certain kind of vehicle, had a certain budget for this, and I had a certain budget for that. And even at that time, even though I didn't have a lot, I was happy where I was at, right? And I spent all the money I had to live that way. And as time went on, I got raises or promotions or whatever, and the income went up. And so what else went up in my life? My style of living expenses. Because you think you have to match the way you live with your income. So your house has to what? Get bigger. Your car has to get newer. Your clothes need to get fancier. And so you're spending the extra money that God has blessed you with on things you didn't even need in the first place. And see how it elevates and how it elevates and how it elevates? And God is not saying that is wrong. What he's saying is, if you worship that, if that is your goal in life, is to constantly just be better and better and better and better and better, and ultimately become where you don't need God, because you can supply everything you need in all your riches and all of your glory and all your honor. But if you really stop and think about it, back when you were just simple, well, you didn't need much, but money has a way of twisting and making you think you need more than you really do. Or that you don't have enough because of your neighbor across the street just bought a new 30-yard boat, so you got to go out and buy a 40-yard boat, put yourself in debt for 50 years, and you can't even enjoy it. But we do that to ourselves. He says we always want more than we have. Solomon sat back. He observed those that spend their lives excessively seeking after money, but never find the happiness that it comes with. Its promises wealth. And is this not funny? Think about this. Wealth attracts freeloaders and thieves. If you're rich, who do you got surrounding you? People that want something from you. Hey man, can I borrow 20 bucks? That's nothing. You got $20,000. What's 20 bucks? Hey man, can I sleep on your couch for the next 6 months totally free? Eat all your food, drink all your drink, all you clothe me, and put gas in my car. The more money you have, the more people you're going to have looking at what they can get from you.
When you had your big check, how many new friends did you have?
Yeah, I have a lot. But the day the money's gone, so are they. When you got money, they're there. When you don't have the money, they're gone. Freeloaders. But then you also got thieves. Guys, that's why the Bible says, don't lay your treasure on earth where rust and moth and all that kind of stuff can destroy, but lay your treasures where? In heaven. Because listen, the more money you have, the more conscious you are how you got to protect it. You got to buy safes, you got to put it in the bank, you got to watch your PIN numbers, you're constantly checking your balance, all of these things. But the bigger house you live, the more money it looks like you have, the more of a target people are to steal from you, to rob you. Guys, that's why thieves, on the average, they don't plan and they don't walk through the ghetto and rob houses. They go up to Highland Park. They go to people with $1 million homes. And that's who they rob. Why? Because they have to. And I'm not preaching anti-material, anti-money, anti-wealth, but Solomon is preaching is this: don't love your money and steward what God has given you well. Use your money, use your wealth, use the blessings that God has given you for His glory, and then He will turn around and use that for your good. But don't worship money. You know what? You know why I love money? I love it because I get to, bills. So many people you gripe about, I gotta pay rent this month. Get over it. Everybody pays rent. I gotta pay electricity. Everybody pays food. That is life. I love that I can, you know what I love? I love that I have a job that I can pay my bills. Or else I'd be living with my mommy and she'd be paying my bills. Or the government would be paying my bills. God says, no, you're a man. You're my man. You pay your own bills. You walk your own line. You do this without. But you know what? I love my money for one reason. I get to blow it on my family. We get to use it to do things that bring joy and happiness into our lives. We get to use money as a blessing to try to help other people. Give it away. Help your waitresses. Help your waiters. Help people in the world that might not have it as good as you do. Solomon says that is what you should pursue. The joy of other people with your money. Not your money. Your money will just take and take and take. And I don't care how big your bonus is, how much money you make this year compared to last year, guess what? It's never enough. Never enough. It's not sin not to have money, but it's sin to love your money more than Jesus. Ecclesiastes 5:11. When good things increase, those who consume them increase. So what is the advantage to their owners except to look on? He says this, or Clark, the commentator says, an increase of property always brings an increase of expense. By a multitude of servants, and the owner really possesses no more and probably enjoys much less than he originally did, when every day provided its own bread and can lay up no store for the next. But if he have more enjoyment, his cares are multiplied, and he has no kind of profit. This also is vanity. What he means is this: life sometimes is easier when it's simple. When you're not constantly worried about your richness. 5:12, he says, the sleep of the working man is pleasant. I like this verse. Whether he eats little or much, but the stomach of the rich man does not allow him to sleep. I don't know about you, and I will be 1,000. Last night I was having these thoughts last night. As Dee was studying and she was over there getting at it. I was laying over there studying or getting ready for church and watching a movie and Dee and I had a great day that day with the kids and she went out and had her day and me and James did stuff and with the kids, and then the night before we went out and had fun, and I just sat there last night and I said, man, I love my life. I love I got like a couple $100 in the bank, but who cares?
Yeah.
All my bills are paid. My wife halfway likes me. My kids are healthy. We got friends. We got family. Yeah, there's some junk negative in my life, but who cares? Compared to what's good in my life, it wins. And I just sometimes, guys, you need to allow your mind to sit in the Lord's rest and look at the good things you have, and be reminded of all that God has given you. And that you do. Man, and I was just thinking, man, if I could die today and be content. I don't need anything more. I don't. Now you can enjoy different things, but what I need, I have today. I have it today. I have it. I don't need to search for anything more. I don't need anyone different. I have who I need. I have what I need. Everything else is a bonus. So why? I don't need to pursue things that I already have. I haven't. I have a spouse. I have a wife that I love. I have kids. Guys, sometimes we need to sit back and say, I got it pretty good. That's what Solomon is saying. And you know what? Have you ever had those kind of days where you go to work, or maybe even Steve, he had a 70-hour work week this last week. 70 hours. That's 2 weeks in a week. Basically, 2 weeks of work in a week. That's a lot. I asked him, when'd you sleep? He's still not sure. He hasn't answered me. He said, I plan on doing that in about the next hour. I was like, oh, okay, that's real cool. But here's the deal. When you're honest and when you work hard and you're not lazy, you're walking with God, you're in the will of God, you're at peace with God, and you're as peaceful with man as you can be, don't you sleep better?
Sweet.
Oh, and that's one of the things as I was studying, I was thinking about this last night. I was like, I cannot remember the last night I sat up worried or fearful about what tomorrow would bring. I can honestly say it's been years for me since something has kept me up all night because I was afraid, fearful, or worried of what was going to take place the next day. And there's a lot that I have to do and a lot on my plate. And we all in this room have things that are heavy on our plate, responsibilities. But you cannot allow those to outweigh your faith and trust in the Lord. You should be able to put your head down on the pillow and trust in the Lord. Because staying up all night worrying is not going to solve it the next day.
No.
But if you're going to stay up all night praying, that might help. But guys, I've really come to the resolution, you say to the Lord what you need to say and go to sleep. Get on, and you know what? When I go to sleep, I'm not worried about where she is. I'm not worried about where my kids are. That day's coming, I'm sure there might be those sleepless nights. But right now, it's not, they haven't hit that teenage year, but right now, but even then, trust the Lord. If you worry more than you trust, if you freak out more than you have faith, the Lord's saying, why? That's vanity. You're worrying me. Don't, just trust me. People who trust in the Lord, people who do what they're supposed to be doing, people who work hard and are the center of God's will, they sleep better than the richest people on the planet who are outside of God's will or who do not know the Lord. We sleep better. We sleep better. He says, verse 13, there is a grievous evil which I have seen under the sun, riches being hoarded by their owner to his hurt. You ever see that show, Hoarders? Ridiculous. Hoarding can lead to hurt. That which arises from this practice of hoarding is selfish, greed, and pride. If you notice, all the people in that show, Hoarders, they don't want to get rid of what? Their stuff. Why? Because it's theirs. Selfish. Guys, Solomon he's trying to take this on spirit. He says, you know what we hoard? Not stuff, sin. We hoard sin. In the privacy of our hearts, and you don't know a person's a hoarder until what? They allow you what? Into their home. The average person out in the street, you cannot tell if they're a hoarder or not. Most people, you would never expect them actually to be hoarders. You walk in and go, oh my God, I've been in houses like that. I've worked in homes like that where I've walked through the mazes of newspapers and crawled under clothes and then pop up in another room that they wanted renovated. For real. I mean, Dad and I, we thought we were going to get killed. We're on our hands and knees crawling through plastic clothes. And we pop up and then we can stand up and it's a room. As much as people hoard stuff, guys, Christians sometimes want to hoard their sin. Keep it locked away, don't want nobody in, it's mine. It's mine. I want it, I need to keep it, I gotta have it. until the Lord sends His gospel or a church service or a song or somebody that comes into your life and exposes you as being a hoarder. Man, you've got sin in your life secretly hidden away in your heart that needs to be let go of. Some of you, some of us, we hoard our money. We hoard our. Here's what we hoard. We hoard the idea of what people think about us is the most important. How people see us. We hoard our self-esteem. We hoard. You know what? I got to be the best. God says no. If I have an abundance of wealth, this is what hoarders think. If I have an abundance of wealth or whatever you need, if you have more of whatever you don't need, he says this: if you have too much of anything, you will look at people and say, why do I need you? Because the goal of the gospel is to reach people, not get stuff. The goal of the gospel is people. Why it's very bad logic to work your entire life just to retire and run away from people. And just never do anything for the rest of your life. God says that's a waste. That is a waste. 14, 15, and 16, he says, but when those riches were lost through a bad investment and he had a father and a son, then there was nothing to support him. As he had come naked from his mother's womb, so he will return as he came. He will take nothing from the fruit of his labor that he can carry in his hand. This also is a grievous evil. Exactly as a man is born, thus will he die. So what is the advantage to him who toils for the wind? See, guys, what you've gathered, what you've acquired can be lost. A bad investment can wipe out a bank account. The stock market can crash, and from a prince, you can go from a prince to a pauper. What are you leaving for your children? That's the question the Bible wants to answer. It's not about what you're gaining for yourself. What are you gaining for your kids? What are you going to hand down to them? What are you going to hand down to your kids? Bad debt? Bad name? Untrustworthy? Family of liars and crooks and snakes? Or a good name? A good reputation? Good credit? Good things. You got to work hard. You know what really is one of the main causes of suicide in our country? It's right here. People putting their stock, their whole life, in their money, and then it's gone. And then they have no reason to live. Forget that they have a wife and 3 kids. They have no reason to live because they don't have their money. They lost it all. No, they didn't. You just lost the money. It's important, guys. What you value is all. What you value is everything. Job said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will return. The Lord gives, and the Lord is taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
Yes.
That's a cool verse to quote and believe in. It's a really, really hard verse to live by. And it's really, really hard to live by when God takes. We love that verse when God is blessing. The Lord gives. Blessed be the name of the Lord. The Lord is taken. I'm not going to bless him so much. He's kind of mean. In fact, he's a jerk and he's rude. Why would he do that? He's a God of love. I've done nothing but good for him. We don't like it when God takes, do we? But is he not the same God who is good even when he takes? Yes, he is. Plus, he wants you to realize you came into this world with nothing. You will leave with nothing. The only thing you're going to leave with is your relationship with him. That's the only thing. If you do not have a relationship with Jesus, you will leave with nothing. Verse 17 and 18 and 19 says this: throughout his life he also eats in darkness with great vexation, sickness, and anger. Here's what I have seen to be good and fitting, to eat, to drink, and enjoy oneself in all his labor in which he toils under the sun during the few years of his life which God has given him. For this is your reward. Furthermore, as for every man to whom God has given riches and wealth, he has also empowered him to eat from them and to receive his reward and rejoice in his labor, for this is the gift of God. If there is no future life, if there is nothing beyond this,